Hello again. Welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. Big weekend of racing at Aqueduct. Coming up, loaded card. I've already released the Remsen Stakes for 2-year-olds. That video is out. Check it out. Today we're going to do the Cigar Mile. So we're going to cover all the stakes races, maybe a pick five video later on in the week. Free to subscribe to the channel, so do so. I'm covering the entire Derby 151 trail all the way up to race day in May. So hit that like button while you're at it. Follow me on Billy Ho Sports, or at Billy Ho Sports, I should say, on X, because that's where I post a lot of my content, what's coming up. So being subscribed, notification buttons, all that kind of good stuff. We've got tons of racing coming up. It might be getting cold this winter, but the racing is getting hot. So let's take a look. Cigar Mile, 3-year-olds and up, out of the chute at Aqueduct. We're going to start with. Okay, so we got race number 9, 1 mile cigar, grade 2 for 500K, and you can see it's coming out of the chute up here. So this is going to be basically an extended sprint. A lot of these are fast, like Bookham Dano, number 1 for Derek Ryan, the pride of his barn, just really burst on the scene last year. Kind of in the beginning of the Derby Trail, the Pasco, he blew him out by 12 to serve notice. He won the Woody Stevens. That was a huge, huge win, and then a couple of minor stakes wins. And then took the break, came back in the Grade 3 Perryville, and just didn't get it done as the favorite. Well, I didn't think it was all his fault. Coming down the stretch in the Perryville, he got cut off in the stretch. He was inside. I think he would have, if he'd had just a little bit cleaner trip coming home, he would have gotten up, lost a close one there. But I think he's going to be looking to bounce back significantly. Number 2, Nelson Avenue, Wayne Potts, Dylan Davis, ran pretty hard. Couple of horses in this 49er. Coastal Mission won that race, and the 49er. And Nelson Avenue showed a lot of heart and some good speed early on to get out to the lead, but just couldn't hold them off in the stretch. So Nelson Avenue will probably be one that they're talking about, but I'd say a bit of a long shot versus this group. Same goes for Repo Rocks, a horse that was in the 49ers as well, and just didn't really wasn't really in it, so to speak. Finished 4th, no kick on the inside down the stretch. But that was actually Coastal Mission that won that race. It was a pretty impressive field. I mean, he had other horses like Film Star, Messier, Jefferson Street was up there for a while. So, like I said, Repo Rocks tucked inside, no kick in that race. So that brings me to the number 4 horse, Vinsanity, and you might have to be a little crazy to want to think this horse has a chance. But I'm just not seeing it. So we're going to skip on to Mulligan. This is Rod Brissett, Flavian Pratt aboard. Back-to-back big triple-digit numbers here. The forego at Saratoga was a huge victory over Gun Pilot and Gun Pilot Anchor. Anchor didn't really run too good the other day. I think Anchor was probably just a little bit on the weaker side, and possibly Gun Pilot. So I don't know. I'm not 100% on that forego, but it looked pretty good in the BC Sprint. Had that rally coming down the stretch. I think that's probably the class of this field, pretty much. So Mulligan is going to be one of the top. He beat, actually looking back to July, he beat Coastal Mission. So good looking horse. Number 6, Law Professor, 6-year-old, had some class at 5, but not much for him here. Number 7, Locked, is going to be the interesting one here for Todd Pletcher. Was really looking good. Breeders' Futurity winner back in October. Came home pretty strongly in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile late behind Fierceness and Muth. But the Derby Trail was derailed. Knee injury. I think there was a spiked fever early in the winter. So really lost a lot of training time. And so they shelved him and then came back off the injury and won at 62K pretty impressively. I mean, it was really just a glorified workout, but he really looked like one of those good workouts where you're hitting it hard and you want more down the stretch and you just want to finish strong. So he just kind of galloped home pretty strong there. I mean, Gunrunner Colt hasn't really shown us what he is yet. So we're gonna see here. I'm gonna say I'm gonna play the wait and see, but I think I will use him underneath in like trifectas and to fill out exotics and of that nature. So he took 49 days off since that worked. So we'll see what he's got. Number 8 pipeline is an interesting one out of the Sherry DeVoe barn. This one has a lot of early speed. You can see the 102s and the 113, 117. Just didn't get it done at Ellis Park. A little bit too hot, probably right there, chasing Saudi or chasing. I forget who he was, who's chasing in that one. But anyway, the Ali Sheba never really in it. So pipeline, I think, is probably going to be a bit outclassed, but should flash some early speed. Senor Buscador, aka Mr. Seeker, has been seeking success since that eye-opening win back in Dubai. Really, actually, he came up here, and the California Crown was never really a race he was going to be in. I didn't think at Santa Anita. Substantador won that. National Treasure, Newgate, whole bunch of them. Uh, the Pat O'Brien, the same thing at Del Mar, was leading up to this, was trying to get him fit for the Breeders' Cup Classic, basically. Came home pretty decently with a rally, but didn't just wasn't quite up to the task. Going back to a mile, he closed, if you look back here at this Cigar Mile, ran a 100 behind Hoist the Gold and closed to second. So wasn't too far behind Hoist the Gold, but was never catching him. So that's the race that I think Rosario is going to look to ride. This is only the second time he's going to be on him in recent, and he ran that 107. So he's going to know what he's got in this one, and I think do a better job of positioning him to get after it late in the stretch. Now that brings us to number 10, Coastal Mission, the winner of the 49er, Parks Dirt Mile back to back. He's a real gamer, only ranked sixth in prime power. Probably the lack of triple digit speed figures here and the declining speed figures the last two starts. Even though he won, was just kind of, I guess, not up to the task of the upper 90s. Not really sure why he didn't earn better numbers. Maybe the competition or the track being at Parks that day. I'm not really sure what it was. But Coastal Mission is one that you should look at, but probably a tier below horses like the number 11 horse, Post Time. This one I really, really liked. I caught on to him back at this grade 2 Carter win back at Aqueduct in April, where he ran around Super Chow on the outside and then ran that strong second in the Westchester behind Messier, who I thought was a really good, was in good form at the time. Then the Met Mile closed for the Exacta, where I had National Treasure in him in that one that day. Really good race. Wasn't catching National Treasure that day. Third in the Whitney behind Arthur's Ride and Crouppy, not too bad. Was able to rally up a little bit there. And then the blowout in the drop-in class to the Laurel Park victory there, going a mile, back at the right distance. I like this distance for post time. The BC Dirt Mile, closing second once again, but just wasn't able to catch up to full Serrano, but was able to run by everybody else and was only was not that far behind anyway. But post time, I think one of my strongest contenders in this race. Absolutely. He's a beast from the 3/4 pole on. I do look back to that grade 2 Carter win. I think that at the track and close to the distance. But ultimately, to round things out, I really wanted to go with post time, but I think Mulligan's catching my eye. 3 straight 7 furlong wins, and he was extending the lead in all of them. So I think he gets that mile no problem. I think he's going to be really difficult to catch down the stretch. At least that's the way I see it pace wise. And I see horses like Bookham Dano and Post Time running. And then what will Locked do? And also Senor Buscador. All of those horses could be closing late. So what I think what I'll do is I'll put Mulligan on top as the key horse, then use post time, locked, Senor Buscador, Bookem Dano underneath, and then I'll let the chips fall where they may. That'll do it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Smash that like button if you did. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Later on in the week, more videos. We got 2 more stakes to cover and a pick 5. So stay tuned. Best bets too. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out. See you soon.